Hello and welcome. Well, this Monday, judicial corruption is still on the table, and it should be because it's important. And I think President Kufuor said something very significant today, that if you fail on this thing, you may be doomed forever, and indeed the whole nation will be doomed forever. The argument is to show or not to show. Now the argument is even moved further to the methods with which the evidence was gathered. Was it legal or not? The judges implicated are also saying they must have their day in court. And since they have the law in their bosom, they're bringing out all the laws to say that indeed they are innocent until proven guilty. Where do we go as a nation? How do you deal with such a matter? The average citizens want to see the judge gone through the same court and then thrown into jail. Will that ever happen? What happens if they come out with all their technicalities and therefore you can't do anything about this case? What will happen between public perception? But then there's a writ in court, and we're going to go through that. My name is Nana Sakwa. This is PM Express, and with me in the studio is my own brother Malik Dabu, who is the editor of My Joy Online. And we're going to have a discussion on the layman angle as to how we move forward as a nation with what confronts us. Looking at the highlights of what happened at the bar meeting in Kumasi today would all be on the table. And indeed, we'll go on the phone and speak to lawyer Charles Bentum, who is representing the judges who have been allegedly been seen to be collecting bribes. Malik, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I still think that in this is one of the biggest thing in our history. You know, I keep saying, you know, I compare it to 1966 when Nkrumah was overthrown and, you know, turned our country around. This, I rank you among that league.
You're absolutely right. You're right because, I mean, as we all do know, the judiciary remains the most respected part of our society. Everybody who is in that space has managed to jealously guard the sanctity of that institution. So to see that institution crumble in the manner that Anas has exposed it, it's worrying beyond everybody's imagination. And that's what, in your introductory comments, you talked about former President Kufuor saying that this is the biggest challenge to our society. Asante Hini made the same call. So you're absolutely right. This is big.
Now, there are two schools of thoughts, you know, to show or not to show. Those who say yes, show, and those who are saying no, do not show. The argument is going forward. I mean, what are your views that should this be showed or should it be shelved until the Judicial Council has dealt with whatever they can do with before? I mean, where do you stand?
Well, let's look at the arguments advanced by both sides. Those who canvass the idea that this should not be shown, this is primarily their concern. The judiciary remains the bulwark of our society. It's what everybody looks up to. If you and I have a disagreement, that is where we go to. And when we appear before a judge, we expect that judge to be as impartial as possible. And we expect that judge to give justice. And we must remember, justice is not just for the victor. Sometimes justice is also for the vanquished. Because if you make claims and your claims are unsubstantiated and you appear before a judge, you expect a judge to explain to you why your claims are unsubstantiated so that at least you have closure. You can go home and be satisfied that you were wrong. That's why the judgment went against you. Now, if this institution that all of us ought to rely on for closure to cases that we have either against fellow citizens or against the state or against a business or a company, that institution's integrity is being called into question. All that we have to do is not to keep digging. Their argument is, if you open this video to the general public, what good will it serve? You further dampen people's morale. You further create a crisis, you deepen it, and so there's no gain to be made if you were to publish this. Those who are against this, their argument is, these judges are persons who sit in courts where they bring the yams, the person who steals tubers of yam and fingers of plantain. when these people appear before the courts, there is no question whether they should be published or not.
Let me go on the line and speak to lawyer Charles Bentum. This is a lawyer who's representing the judges who are implicated in Tiger Eye's investigation. Lawyer Charles Bentum, you're very welcome. Have I got Lawyer Bentum on the phone?
Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much and for accepting our call, and thanks for joining the show.
It's a little faint.
I'll get my technical team to turn the volume up if it works, but is it any better now?
Yes, your last, yes, it's better.
Very good, very good. Lawyer Bentum, obviously you are the lawyer who's representing the judges who have been allegedly implicated in this investigation and the video. Now, those who have seen the video, I haven't seen it, are enraged. And they're enraged because they are seeing and hearing judges who were supposed to be, defending them if they were to turn up in court, allegedly taking bribes, and some of the bribes are, so little. And you are there defending, saying that, no, your clients are innocent. I know they are all innocent until proven guilty. Is there anything else that you are looking for, other than the fact that they it sounds as if it's obviously they're guilty, but then there are some legal proceedings that you have to make.
If you may repeat the question, I didn't get you well.
Well, here we are with video evidence. Admittedly, okay. I haven't seen it. But, the transcript says judges meeting at car park, collecting goats, collecting monies, doing this. Yeah, so to the layman, well, this man is obviously guilty. So you as a defense lawyer, what are you looking for, a pardon or?
Yes. What we are looking for is that the document, which is the tape,
yes,
which is the foundation of all these accusations. As far as we are concerned, it should be subject to legal authentication. In any normal court proceedings where allegations have to be converted into what is called facts.
Yep.
The documents that sometimes parties even want to rely on to prove their side of the allegation and turn them to become facts for the judge to accept them as such. Those documents are exchanged. And the reason for exchange of documents is to be sure that what the other person has, what the other person is relying on, is really what the document says or speaks to. So in the case of this Tiger
Eye PI.
And none of us can be sure of the authenticity as to whether or not what it portrays are exactly what it is. In fact, you know as much as I do that in this technological age, what do you call it? Electronic medium of communicating have undergone so much transformation that until issues of its originality, issues of its authentication have been dealt with, concluding on them, conclusions made on them can be problematic.
Are you doubting the credibility of ANAS and PI group?
I am not doubting their credibility as far as whatever they do is concerned. But I'm talking specifically to this particular tape. So I have never had access to any other tape in the past in relation to any other matter, and therefore I'll be the last person to rubbish everything that they had done in the past. But specifically to this particular tape, that is what we are talking about. And for the plaintiffs that I represent in court, they have not had the benefit of having in their possession, each of them, copies of the tapes so that they can call experts. If we were one of them, we could have called you to say that, look at this for us. See whether it is a coherent story being told by the pictures that we are seeing, or they are disjointed, or whatever they are. Give us professional opinion on them, and then we move from there. So we can, until and unless this tape has come under legal scrutiny, I don't think that it can found any conviction. It can be relied upon for anything worth its salt.
So why is it that, I know 22 judges have been suspended immediately. If all these things haven't happened, you think the Judicial Council have acted illegally?
Oh, as for the committee that is trying my client, the law provides clearly that they have no local standard, they have no capacity, it is bereft of jurisdiction, because the Judicial Service Regulation, which regulates this matter that they find themselves in, says that in their case, it is a single High Court justice that must sit to investigate the allegation made against them, or a judicial officer appointed for this purpose by the Chief Justice. And I don't think that the Judicial Council should bypass or sidestep the clear provision of the law and then do something else.
Is it not because there hasn't been a case like this before, and so this is going to be a precedent that's going to be set?
Well, this is not the first time I believe judges or even judicial officers had gone through inquiry. So I would be hesitant to say that, in fact, this is a novel. Probably it's just because of its magnitude. I mean, the sheer number that we are dealing with, that may be the only difference. But as far as the law is concerned, in terms of the inquiry, the regulations of the judicial service, is so clear. I mean, I have not yet heard anybody who has disputed this point that the lawyers are not right, are not correct in terms of their citation of the law and what they are relying on. That there's another law that says otherwise, or what they are saying is even repealed, amended, but it's not even there. It is not that.
But why should it be different from other investigations in the past? Anytime Anas and his Tiger IPI have done an investigation, they come out and show the tape, and we are all disgusted, and whatever happens, happens. So why should this be stopped?
My brother, you see, if you live in a community and somebody attacks your household, and you don't do anything about it, and you sit down for something to happen to you, whether for your neighbor, a similar thing happens to your neighbor, and he or she decides to rise up to the occasion and do something about it, I don't think you'd be justified in going to your neighbor to say that, how come that when this happened to me, I sat down aloof, and you are rising up to the occasion? Would that be justified?
No. I get your analogy, and no. But what I'm saying is that should the tape not be aired? I mean, obviously you are saying no, but why shouldn't the tape be aired? It's Anas's property now. Oh,
in fact, you see, the law is the law, unless of course we want to be lawless. In the case of the Superior Court, the Superior Court staff, that is the judges of the Superior Court, the Constitution provides clearly that this matter must be held in camera, and that provision is there. In the case of my client, those from the Inferior Court, we take the position that in fact, I don't even want to specifically mention Anas. I want to mention Tiger Eye, because that is the entity that has made allegation. In fact, Tiger Eye, you would agree with me, cannot be a judge in his own case. Now, when Tiger Eye presents a petition to the Chief Justice in the case of the inferior court officers. And the Chief Justice receives this petition, together with all the documents and attachments. And he says that, look, the conditions of service of these people that you've made allegations against requires me to put into motion a certain procedure and a certain inquiry. And I'm going to do that. Why do you have to, after giving that petition and this document to the Chief Justice, why do you rush to the Accra Conference Center and call all and sundry, the members of the public? Everybody should come and look at what I presented to the Chief Justice and see how bad these people are, how wicked they are, how criminal they are. Mm-hmm. These are the judges who are taking votes and are doing this and are doing that. When your petition is before the Chief Justice, when your petition is undergoing inquiry, and in any case, none of these people have been found culpable as we speak now. No single judge, no single magistrate, who has been named has been found culpable. And they must be presumed innocent until proven otherwise. Why should you go and embarrass them in the full glare of their friends, their colleagues, their townsfolk, and make a conclusion in the court of public opinion that they are criminals through the act of showing this film in next week or the time that is scheduled to be shown? So you see, there's a clear prejudice, and I don't think that you support that kind of prejudice, and I know you don't. Do you?
I'm the one asking the questions here, but lawyer, I want you to hold on. Let me bring Vitus Azim, who's the Executive Director of Ghana Integrity Initiative. Mr. Azim, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to find out what your position is. Are you for us to show the tape or to hold fire until everything is done?
It's not very clear, but I think that whatever the case, the allegations that have been made, we need to give the accused people a hearing.
Mm-hmm.
We should not just rush to the conclusion that maybe they are guilty. Even the evidence is there, we need to get their reaction.
Before the tape is aired?
No, not necessarily. The two can go side by side. The tape can be aired. The fact, the investigative team think that they want to air the tape. Because one of the strategies for fighting corruption is name shame. And for some time now...
But Vitus, there's no corruption here until the judges say so. There's no corruption here until it is says in court.
For how? But the newspaper journalism publish allegations of murder and other things in the newspaper with pictures and robbery. You get the people reporting them.
But they are not as sensitive as the judiciary. So we should tread a bit cautious when we are dealing with judiciary.
So if it's alleged that you have done something, nothing wrong with bringing your picture onto it has been happening. Nothing wrong with bringing your picture onto the news. And in any case, the information is already out there. Because you see the list of high court charges. So I don't see why there should be a excuse about it.
Okay, hold on then, Mr. Vitus, as in for me. And Charles Benton.
Yes.
You heard him. He said the names are already out there. It's already alleged. So we're just going to put it out as allegedly committed a crime. We're not saying they have committed a crime.
I didn't hear him. So can you repeat what he said for me?
Well, he's saying that the two can run side by side. You could show the movie and still take the lordships through whatever legal action that you want to take them through. It doesn't make them innocent or guilty.
No, if that were to be the case, then once you send your case to court, you must go to the media and begin to tell your side of the story to the media. Mm-hmm. And not wait for the judge to go through a trial of your case and then come to a conclusion one way or the other. Because you may have a very good reason to go to the media and start, trying your case in the court of public opinion. we are a country which is governed by laws. And when a law has provided the procedure by which a thing has to be done, it is only that procedure that must be resorted to. Indeed, what we are doing, what we have on our hands, is a situation where members of the public had already judged these people who are presumed innocent and passed judgments and sentenced them. And these may be your brother, your classmate, your uncle, your nephew, your husband, or your wife. They have been crucified when no culpability has been found against them. Now, the person who brought this up, who at this stage, the document that is founding the case only makes an allegation on proving facts. That person is saying that I want to take the law into my own hands, be a judge in my own case. Whether the Chief Justice will take 1 day, 2 weeks, 1 month to go through an inquiry and allow the other side to be heard so that they can also have a voice and also speak up to their innocence or not. As for me, I'm going ahead to tell the public how bad they are. Because at the end of the day, my brother, if you were one of them and it is found you are cleared by the inquiry that, oh, after all, the allegation that was made against you by that guy was unfounded. When at the National Theatre, people have seen you as a thief and concluded that you were a thief, how is your reputation going to be repaired?
Okay, hold on for me.
Must you encourage this in this country?
Hold on for me. Let me bring my brother in here, Malik Dabu. Malik, I hear you shaking your head. Let me hear you.
Well, I've listened to Mr. Bentuman with the greatest of respect. I think he has made valuable points. But first of all, we ought to recognize that Anas is first of all a journalist. When journalists do their investigations and obtain facts as they believe them to be, they do not necessarily care about what state institutions do with those facts. Anas's duty to himself and to the people whom he served, that's the general public, is to put information out there as he has found it. It's simply because Anas wanted to be a good citizen. That was why he took the trouble to petition the Chief Justice in the case of the lower court judges and petition the President in the case of the High Court judges. I do not think we should constrain his job as a journalist on the basis of the fact that people have rights. Of course, people have rights. And there are fora where they ought to go and assert those rights. But for the young man as a journalist, his job is to put the information out there. That's all that he is doing. I think he's not violating any law by putting the information out there. When you and I go and do investigations and we publish on Major Online or we put on radio and on TV, you do not need anybody's permission to do so. If the persons believe that the publication of the information is defamatory to them, they have a right to bring civil action against him. Of course, we do know that he has immunity granted by the Attorney General, and that was done in accordance with law.
Charles Bentum.
That, first of all, 2 points. The right of Anas as a journalist, in all its true intent, and where somebody's right also as a human being also begins. So while he has the right to practice his profession as a right, he must also remember that in so doing, he doesn't infringe on the right of another person. In fact, if Anas had not submitted any petition to the Honorable Heredity, the Chief Justice, I don't think I'll be talking the way I'm talking. Because to the extent that to the extent that he has formally made a petition and he has triggered the process of the law in this country, he cannot go round it under the guise that he's a journalist and all and what have you. Apart from that too, let me say that the Attorney General cannot give any immunity to anybody, because this immunity system that is now coming to the public space and debate is founded on the Whistleblowers Act. And check, the Whistleblowers Act, the immunity aspect of it is not absolute. we need to be informed when we read the law. It is not absolute. There's an exception to it. Don't read the law and leave the exception. The exception is that if it turns out that you blow a whistle and what you put out there is false, palpably false, the person against whom that false allegation was made will have a right, of course, will have a cause of action against you. Will have a cause of action against you. And the Attorney General will not amend that provision of the law just by, what do you call it? Cannot amend the law simply by a fiat of itself giving an immunity. And I have not heard that Attorney General actually do that. So I must speak with circumspection because I have not heard that.
I can't speak for the Attorney General and what she saw to grant the immunity. But Malik, you wanted to come in here.
But let me tell you. Let me tell you that. Check the Whistleblowers Act. It is not absolute.
Yes, but you were saying that unless if the information was palpably false.
At this stage, the inquiry had not been completed. So you and I cannot say for a fact that what Anes is alleging has been transformed and metamorphosed from an allegation to a fact. There are two things. When somebody is arrested, he starts as a suspect. Then he graduates to become an accused person. He may graduate from accused person further to become a convict
Charles,
or can be acquitted. So when issues start, they start and we call them the name allegation. Then the allegation is transformed to fact. At this stage, do we have facts established? When the inquiry by the Chief Justice, when the petition in the case of the Supreme Court justices were in accordance with the Constitution were given to the President, and the President tossed it over to the CJ, the Chief Justice, to begin the processes. Has the process been completed? Where members of the public can now say that yes, indeed, facts have been established. Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Hold on, let me bring Malik in.
First of all, the point ought to be made clearly that the members of the public, those who are going to go and watch the video, are not the persons who have to determine the fate of these judges. Secondly, if he says that where one person's rights begin is where another person's rights end, Anas has a right as a journalist to put his information out there. You say the judges also have a right to ensure that the right thing is done and that their interests are protected. Now, who determines whose right comes first? Anas's right have to be suspended so that the judge's right ought to be respected first before he can exercise his right? Or on the basis of what are we determining?
Don't twist the discussion like that. Don't twist the discussion like that. In fact, you see, this Anas tape or this Tiger Eye tape, it can be shown 100 times over and over again, provided the inquiry that has been set in motion by Her Ladyship the Chief Justice has been completed. If it is completed, why not? So you see, if anybody is even asking for an injunction to restrain the showing of the thing, it will only be the period between now and when the inquiry is done. But it cannot be a perpetual injunction or prohibition against that. Who can do that? Nobody can do that. So you see, that is the distinction.
But Mr. Bentum, when ordinary members of the public have cases in court, those cases are covered widely by the media.
Members of the public have to do what?
When ordinary members of the public have cases in court, those cases are covered widely. It does not, no matter what the judges decide, no matter what transpires in court, the public have a right to know. Remember that the people, as I said earlier, who are going to watch it are not those who determine the fate of the people. The Constitution provides circumstances and grounds under which these things are done. In the case of the High Court...
You have so soon forgotten what we went through when the election petition went to court. And our brothers, our cousins, our friends, who are in the media, were held before the Supreme Court for contempt of court.
Because
the matter was pending before the court, and they were going to make judicial, comments. Judicial comments, and it's the same thing. In fact, since for now that some of us are filed rape in court, I don't think that it will be fair. Yes.
On that note, I'm going to take a quick break here and I'll come back to you. But with regards to the Supreme Court, I think those some were calling for coup d'etat and Armageddon. So that was a bit of an extreme. But I think we reported on a daily basis and even showed the court case live. But we'll come and then you explain that to us. So stay tuned.
Well.
Stay tuned. We're coming straight back. Thank you very much for staying, and we are looking at the alleged judicial corruption in which we have engulfed this nation. And just before the break, Lawyer Charles Bintu made a case that there was a gagging order during the Supreme Court case. My question to him was that those who fell foul during that time were people who made extreme statements. Other than that, I think everybody reported it extensively. Have I still got Charles Bintu on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Very good. During the Supreme Court case, so, if you can answer, the people who fell foul were those who went to the extreme.
Oh, no, it's not those who went to the extreme. The principle was just what was the issue. That when you sent your matter to the local chief of your village, look at here, the Supreme Court, you need to just have temperance and be able to control yourself and allow the due process of the law to take its place. And after that, then everything settles. But not when you send your case to the local chief, and the local chief will hear that you are out there disgracing the person that you have come to complain about.
But the Supreme Court was telecast live.
Yes, the Supreme Court was telecast live, but it didn't give the right to anybody to make prejudicial statement on what was going on that we were watching live.
Okay, hold on. I have Samson who works on My Joy Online, and I'm sure he was really reporting this thing on a daily basis. How did the gagging orders then affect you? What's it different from that to now?
I don't know if there were gagging orders. There simply were normal rules that do not go and make, as he pointed out, prejudicial comments. Do not go and say things that did not happen in court.
With what we have on our hands.
Lawyer, if you hold on for me just 1 second. Malik Blunt.
Do not go and say things that affect the heart of the matter. But I think that the citing of that case itself undermines Mr. Bintu's argument. Now, you have an arrangement that says in the Constitution, in fact, in Article 1468, I believe, the Constitution says that the procedures that may lead to the High Court judges being dismissed should be held in camera. So compare that to the hearing of the petition, which was televised. So at that time, you were allowed to comment on the proceedings as long as you were not touching on matters that went to the heart of the case or matters that did not happen in court. That was the only limitation. Beyond that, everybody was entitled to report as far as the facts were concerned. Stick to the facts and you had no problem. As you pointed out, those who had problems were those who made comments that were reckless, to be honest.
They were not going to accept the ruling.
It was only on the basis of that people were hauled before the court. But to now go beyond a constitutional provision that says that the matters involving the High Court judges should be heard in camera, to say that the journalist's work should also be injuncted, I think that is asking too much.
The inquiry that is going to be heard in camera, the inquiry is founded on a foundation. The foundation is the tip, right? Which contains an information. That is the basis of the in-camera inquiry. Now, that information contained on the tip also affects the rights of those who have been named so far. And if you are going to show this to the public and let's put them in a situation where before the inquiry would even come to an end, the public will conclude beforehand that what they are seeing in the video or whatever it is a gospel truth. When actually
Charles, but Charles, the transcript is already out. The names are out, and indeed, you know, what difference would the video make, which is not doing now? I mean, we have the names. You are even representing them openly. I mean, what else? What harm can the tape do?
Oh, for now, in fact, even presently as we speak now, a lot of harm had been done because the people, all of them, all the judges and the magistrates, as we speak now, you agree with me that they have been condemned, haven't they? They've been condemned. When the rules of natural justice require that they ought to have been heard before they were condemned. But the media, through the media space, they have been condemned. In fact, as we speak now, our judges, even including those who were not named, even stands accused because, or stands condemned. That is better. Stands condemned because I'm sure in the coming weeks, if any judge's name is mentioned at a funeral or a social gathering, and he stands up, there will be an uproar that you see one of them who is corrupt because the public were not tailored or educated to understand that once an allegation has been made against somebody, they need to be circumspect in their view of the allegation that has been made. They were left free to bash them and to conclude them or make conclusions on them that they were thieves, they were accepting bribes and all of that. When indeed the goat that you may have seen on the telly, on the video, and the circumstances surrounding the goat and all of those things may completely be a distorted fact, a completely concocted fact, until those purported facts have been converted into purported facts, have been so profound as facts. They are good for nothing.
Let me
good for nothing.
Charles,
those things that you are watching and in the social media space and all of those things are not facts. They will forever remain allegation until the inquiry has been completed.
Okay, hold on, Charles. Let me come to the studio now. Malik, apart from, with all seriousness, you see, even though no one is above the law, I mean, the judiciary is different. So you can't compare it to any other government institution, not even the presidency. You cannot expose them like that. You need to really err on the side of caution so that you don't turn citizens against the judiciary or break complete trust between citizen and judiciary. Could that be a case?
Nana, the very reasons you cited are the very reasons why the tape must be shown. You know why? To whom much is given, much is expected. If you don't show this video, what you tell the ordinary citizens, and remember that the judges sit there in the name of the Ghanaian people, not in their own names. They sit there in the name of the Ghanaian people. If you don't show this video, what you tell the Ghanaian people is that there's no equality. And yet the judges are supposed to, given where they sit, tell everybody that when you come before the law, there is equality. And you tell the Ghanaian people that, no, when it comes to the judges, there is no equality. When there's a matter involving the judges, you can cover it up. When it involves other people, open it and make it public to the people. What do you tell the Ghanaian people?
In spite of all that I've said so far.
What impression do you create? He makes the argument that don't show it because Ghanaian people's minds would have been made up. Is he aware that the 5-member committee and all the other persons involved in this matter have seen the videos before? The persons whose duty it is to determine this matter have seen the video. The rest of the public, our views do not necessarily matter. Those whose opinion matter are those who have seen the video. Who are you protecting the people from?
Charles, who are you protecting the people from? The decision makers have seen the video and they have taken the decision as to suspend some.
So if you conducted a census and you found out that the total population of Ghana is a certain 100%, and that 60% had seen the video already, the rest of the 40% should also be allowed to see it. So because after all, 60 has seen it. So if the 60 who
no, his argument was that those who will make the decision as to whether the judges are guilty or not, whether they should continue with their work or not, they've seen the video and they will make the judgment. If I saw it or if Joe Block saw it down the road, he just goes home and laments to his wife. You
are not concerned. You are not concerned about the reputation that is being continuously injured. The reputation of these judges who are not criminals, who have not been found culpable, as we speak now, who have not been found guilty. We are not concerned about their reputation.
Well,
is that what you want your listeners to hear? We're not concerned about their reputation.
Won't it come out in the video if they were innocent? I mean, we watch the videos. Of course, he wasn't innocent. I mean, nothing happened in the video. You
want the public out there to from this interview to conclude that everything that they may have seen on the video, wherever they saw it, is the gospel truth, is fact, and they must all hold it, and therefore the inquiry, it doesn't matter. The Chief Justice must stop. And the Chief Justice should not even do any inquiry, because after all, the people who must judge them in the court of public opinion have seen the thing already, and they matter. Okay, so then the petition that was submitted is a butu fume.
Charles, let me give you
continue. Charles, is that what you want the public to understand?
Well, one last thing is the Tiger IPI that happened to be one of the defendants you're going against have brought Tiger IPI who brought this thing. Now they've done investigations through Ghana, internationally, Al Jazeera. So as far as reputation and credibility is concerned, so far they are intact. If this is going to be the botched documentary they are bringing, then this is going to be the first. But they've been through the world over, been to Colombia prison, Nigeria, all throughout Ghana, and brought credible documentation. And eventually they've gotten to your client. So it makes your work very difficult to say that, well, you know, it could be a shoddy job or there was something not right about it. So that's what is facing you now.
Let's wait and add this one to their line of successes. Let them restrain themselves.
Thank you very much
for the inquiry that they've done, so that they can add this one to their line of success.
On that note, I'll say thank you very much. Let's wait and add this to their line of successes. But the law is the law. Nana,
he makes valid points. To be fair to him, the law is very funny. If I were to pick this your iPad and there were cameras here and the cameras saw me pick it, if you came here, you didn't find it, you would accuse me of theft. But look at the definition of theft. The appropriation of property belonging to another person with the intention of permanently depriving the person of its use. That's how theft is defined. But if I took it to go use it and then I left it with, say, Kemini to hand over to you, and in the meantime you don't find it and you accuse me of theft, the law will not back you, because the definition of theft is that I have appropriated your property. Yes, I have appropriated it, and I am intending to deprive you permanently of its use. The accusation must prove that when I appropriated the property, I intended to permanently deprive you of its use. If it turns out that I handed it over to somebody to hand to you, how are you going to make the case? So the video of and in itself does not establish prima facie guilt on the part of these judges. But that is why the law provides that when you have these kinds of things, there's a procedure. That procedure must be followed. It is the procedure that the Judicial Council has initiated. Establish a 5-member committee. In the case of the High Court judges, you cannot suspend them, because the Constitution requires that if you have a complaint against a High Court judge or a Court of Appeal judge or a Supreme Court judge, file a petition to the President. The petition will be looked into. If the Chief Justice believes that a prima facie case has been made against you, disciplinary measures will be instituted. That is exactly where we are. The Chief Justice set up a committee. They gave the 12 justices of the High Court.
The argument now is, should this go through before we bring the tape out, because of the very sensitive nature of this institution?
Well, let's look at Justice Paul Utaderi. He went to court today. He brought a writ at the High Court. and he's asking a number of things. First of all, he makes the same argument that Mr. Bentum was making, that he says the collection of the video or the evidence by Anas was unlawful. His reason is Anas did not tell him that he was recording him when they had conversations. He thought that his argument is that this was a clear violation of his fundamental right to privacy. And Mr. Bentum makes the case that, look, there are exceptions, that the immunity granted Anas, there are exceptions in the law. There are also exceptions in the law when it comes to the protection of persons' privacy. If I have a justifiable cause to believe that you are in the process of committing a crime, I am allowed to record you without asking permission.
On that note, that's all time would allow us, but matters arising, I am sure this issue will come to the table again. By Malik Dabo, editor of My Joy Online. Very insightful arguments, and thank you very much. I always like his logic. It's very logical arguments. And folks, that's all time will allow us. If you want a shirt like mine, ring Tanti's Fashion, and they are on 024-366-2001. 024-366-2001. Tanti's Fashion. They make my shirts that I wear on the show. Tomorrow we'll be back to do it all over again, and I hear we are going Hemic. Watch this space. Folks, tomorrow back to this order. Thank you for watching.